everybody and welcome back to my channel. So today I'm going to be painting on this paint palette. Now paint palettes are usually an art accessory and not an art surface. But I actually got this really cool idea from Mariah Elizabeth and also Chloe Rose Art. They have both done this, where they painted on a paint palette with acrylic paints. So here is my acrylic paints and some water. I'm also going to be using some all-purpose sealer here to seal the wood, because when you're painting on wood it's best to seal it. I also have some paint brushes, and along with that I also have this massive paint palette here and a little palette knife, which I should be using to mix my paint instead of paintbrushes. But anyways, let's just get into this and have some fun. So here it is, the paint palette, and it's actually got a really nice looking wood grain on it. I decided to get a wood one just because I love that finish, and I know painting on wood is a lot of fun. It's probably one of my favorite things to paint on, honestly. I kind of like painting on wood better than the canvas. I don't know, there's just something about wood texture that I really love. Now to begin, I'm actually going to be doing a little sketch first, because I want to draw a few characters and I want to make sure all of their proportions are correct, and this is a little bit more detailed than my usual like Pokemon acrylic paintings, because I've only done like sort of simple ones in my sketchbook. Anyways, so we have some new Pokemon here, and these guys are actually from the brand new game that isn't even out yet, Pokemon Scarlet and Violet. Now you've probably seen that I have done a few videos in the past recently of basically my predictions for the new starters evolutions. Now I don't know what they're actually still going to be. They are yet to be announced, but if you want to check out those, definitely I'll leave a link in the description and a playlist. But these guys are different. These guys have recently just been announced in the past week or so. I can't remember the exact day, but they are called, now get this, the pig is called Lechonk. Lechonk. I absolutely love that. I think that's hilarious and adorable and very smart for a cute little chunky pig. Now the little green guy here is called Smoliv, basically small olive, and it's like this little grass type Pokemon that's an olive, and I just think that that is extremely adorable, and I am a massive fan of puns. So I'm definitely loving the naming themes for these guys. And the next one, this orange one here, which I have started painting first, its name is Paw Me. And I think that that is very, very adorable. It's also got very prominent chunky paws here, which I think it's like really fluffy, so it looks really round. And honestly, all of these Pokemon here have like round aspects to them. So honestly, I think Pokemon are, you know, they're doing round boys this time, which I just think is so adorable. Now you may have seen that I sketched out the characters first, and then after that I did my coat of sealer over the top, and I did that on purpose because I wanted to seal the sketch in so that it wouldn't show through when I paint over the top, and obviously the sealer seals the wood so that I have a nice surface to paint on. This stuff works the same as clear gesso, so if you can get your hands on that, it would just be like pretty much the same. Now for the art style of these guys, I decided to keep it very Pokemon-like, but also just give it some soft blending, and you can't see that yet because I'm still on the block color phase, but I'm just mixing up some colors here, and as you can see, I was trying to make like an olivey color for obviously Smoliv, and I kind of had to mix a few greens together with a little bit of white, add a little bit of yellow to warm it up a little bit, and I actually added a orangey yellow color, which you wouldn't think to mix with green, but I really needed to sort of muddy up that color just a little bit to get it like a more of an olive green and less of a saturated green. Now for Lechonk, I actually mixed up a little bit of Mars Black with a bit of Prussian blue and a very small amount of white, I believe it was, just so that I had a color that wasn't extremely like dark. I still wanted to have a little bit of shadows over the top so that you know, I can get some depth into the sky. Now for Pormy, I started off with a base of a cadmium orange color. Now if you're using cadmium and not cadmium hue, you have to be careful because this paint is poisonous and I was very careful not to get it on my skin or anywhere near my mouth, and I was especially careful not to accidentally drink my paint water, which I've never done by the way, but I have gotten close. Now as you can see, we're starting to get some soft shadows here, and for Pormy I mixed in a little bit of a red oxide color, which actually helped to get some nice shades in the shadows while still being quite nice and vibrant. Next I actually added a little bit of white and a little bit more blue to the color that I used for Lechonk, and then I used that for the highlights. And for the shadows of Smoliv, I basically just mixed some dark greens as well as a bit more of orange in there to sort of tone down that green to get a nice sort of you know, soft earthy green color that worked pretty well for Smoliv. Now this orange guy, Pormy, he actually has some light cream color details on his fur, and I decided to go with Naples yellow because it is a very, very soft, creamy, pastel, almost creamy yellow kind of color, and that actually worked out very well, and I think it suits the color pretty much perfectly. So for Lechonk's nose, I needed a sort of like a warm, earthy, slightly earthy pink color. So I actually decided to get one of my skin tone colors, which already was nice and sort of like a natural color. But I mixed a little bit of magenta in there just to get it a little bit more saturated, a little bit more pink. And that works pretty well for the pink nose on Lechonk. After this, you can see them starting to come together, and I am really liking the way that this is going. Now I have to just add some more details over the top. We have most of the big areas of color down and shading on top, but I have to add some details like the eyes and some colors in the eyes as well, and also the little mouth on Smoliv, which I just think is so cute. I'm also just going over certain shapes, like the shapes of the ears and their little fur tuft on Pormy, and I'm just trying to make sure that all of the shapes are refined and good, because when you add like layers of paint over the top of each other, sometimes something will cover a color slightly in a way that you don't want. So I have to go in and fix a lot of that because you know, I'm not the most neatest painter. Sometimes I'll get like blobs of paint where they shouldn't be, so I kind of have to like do layers upon layers of fixing very, very tiny mistakes until I get something that looks good. That's just the way I paint. I can't exactly get everything perfect in the first go, and I think you'd be a wizard if you did that every time. Anyway, so the official art of these Pokemon actually have this little pattern. I think it's like petals or leaves or paint strokes or something, but there's these little yellow strokes that look like paintbrush strokes behind them, and I thought that I would add that onto the palette because it kind of fits really nicely in that empty space up there, and I think that it would look really cute and just add a nice little splash of color that works really well. And I mainly just used it was one of my yellow colors, and I added a little tiny bit of orange into it to make it a bit warmer, and that's what I used for that. And I kind of did, like, I was very not careful with those strokes. I wanted to make them look natural and raw and have like little soft edges on them and definitely look like paint strokes. So I wasn't too worried about, you know, making sure every little detail was perfect there, because, you know, I really like the rawness of them. Anyways, after we've got pretty much all of this done, I need to go in and add some line art. I actually really do like the lineless look that I'm getting here, but I feel like I just need a little bit more detail, and I need to refine some edges in ways that I just can't do with paintbrushes with my current skills. So I'm going on to paint pens. As you can see here, I am using a black paint pen for some areas, but not all, because I want to use some colors in the line art, but I need the black for a lot of Lechonk as well as Pormy's eyes. And now I'm using a green for Smoliv, which isn't the most perfect green for the color. I feel like it's a little bit too blue and it's a little bit too saturated, but it works, and I think it does add a little bit of color in there, so I'm going to allow that. Now for Pormy, the orange color wasn't dark enough, so I decided to go with brown, and honestly I really love that because it sort of works with the brown on Lechonk's face, so it it works with that, as well as just looking like a nice darker color. And yeah, so now I've got the rough line art for these guys done. I want to go around and add an outline around all of them, and I'm going to be using a few different colors for that. So since the games are called Pokemon Scarlet and Pokemon Violet, I decided to use purple for Violet and red for Scarlet, and I would do a outline around all of them and connect them together, kind of, if that makes sense. I just think that it works really nicely and adds a really nice pop of color into them, and I think it just makes the background a little bit more interesting, and it makes them stand out a bit as well. You know me, I love a good excuse to cram as much color into an artwork as I can, and if I can, I will. To finish this up, I'm going to be adding an outline around that, and I'm using a white, and this is just to add a nice bright highlight around them to sort of bring them all together and make them stand out really nicely. And honestly, I love the look of this. I think it looks so cool, and the colors worked pretty well together. So here is the final results, and honestly I love this so much. I think it turned out so well, and yeah, I had a lot of fun doing it. Let me know in the comments below if you have tried a challenge similar to this, and let me know if you haven't but you're interested now because of my video, because honestly I love that. I love inspiring you guys, and I hope that I do. So anyways, thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. Please hit that like and subscribe button to get your Scribble fix in the future. Comment below what you think of my art, and stay safe, stay healthy out there, and I shall see you in my next video. Bye everyone.